So people during exam, lock in guys, lock in.
Exam week is when you realize just how
Exactly, bhai.
many people in your grade are actually hanging on by a thread. The school vibe completely shifts from people hanging out to everyone just looking physically ill while they stare at their phones or a pile of
भाई
loosely
लोगों की गांड फट जाती है भाई बच्चों की, जैसे ही उन्हें पता लगता है भाई एग्जाम्स होने वाले हैं भाई आधे ज़्यादा बच्चे डरने लग जाते हैं और मेरी तरह डोंट गिव अ फक ब्रो
paper.
कुछ नहीं होगा ब्रो एग्जाम
You
से
see kids
तुम भी वही क्लास में बैठोगे फर्स्ट आ गए और मैं लास्ट होके भी उसी क्लास में बैठूंगा तो फक यू ब्रो
in the back of the class who haven't brought a pencil to school all year suddenly frantic, trying to take photos of someone else's study guide because they realize the final starts in 10 minutes. The desks are covered in empty bottles and eraser shavings, and the only thing people are talking about is how much they need a specific grade just to scrape by with a C-. It's a week of pure desperation where everyone is just trying to survive until the final bell rings so they can go home and sleep for 14 hours straight.
एग्जैक्टली भाई एग्जैक्टली
With that said, whether you're taking a casual quiz or actually taking the final, these are the types of people during exams. Starting things off, you have the guy trying to trick his brain into learning 4 months of curriculum in the 10 minutes before the bell. He stands
एग्जैक्टली भाई आधे ज़्यादा बच्चे आजकल बताऊँ क्या करने लगे यूट्यूब पे बहन चो मैं खुद यही करता हूँ ब्रो बस के अंदर बैठ जाते हैं और वो आखिरी के 10 मिनट जो होते हैं 20 मिनट होते हैं स्कूल के रास्ते में जितने भी तब वीडियो देखना चालू करते हैं ब्रो
against the
Type
wall
shit,
with his
bhai.
phone 2 inches from his face, frantically scrolling through a PDF he just downloaded in the parking lot. You can tell he's in over his head because he's asking questions that prove he hasn't been in the same room as the material. Just hoping the bolded words in the PDF stick to his memory by osmosis. Once he sits down, the physical panic sets in as he stares at the clock, trying to calculate how many minutes he can spend on each page before he inevitably runs
एग्जैक्टली भाई तुम ज़्यादा टाइम वेस्ट नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि तुम्हारे पास इतना ज़्यादा टाइम होता नहीं है ब्रो
out of time. He leans so far over his desk that his forehead is practically touching the paper, squinting at multiple choice options like they're the secret code he's
मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चन तो भाई ऐसी तुक्के मारते हैं
1 second away from
तो एमसीक्यूज लिटरली पूछ सकते हो भाई
By the halfway mark, he stops pretending to read and just stares at the back of someone's head. His eyes glazed over as he realizes a zero
सलमान खान व्हाट द फक ब्रो इंटरनेशनल वीडियो में सलमान खान ब्रो
is unavoidable. He eventually sighs, walks his test to the front with slumped shoulders, and immediately starts asking people in the hallway what they got for question 5, just to see if anyone else failed as badly as he did.
भाई मेरे को सबसे चूतिया लोग वही लगते हैं डिस्कशन करने लग जाते हैं एग्जाम के बाद एग्जाम हो चुका है भाई तुम्हारे एमसीक्यू तुम देख रहे हो ये सही है वो गलत है कुछ हो थोड़ी ना जाएगा एग्जाम में तो वही होगा जैसे तुमने लिखा है तो फक ऑफ ब्रो तुम्हारा दिमाग भी खराब होगा इसकी वजह से
Next up is the perfectionist
लिटरली भाई बच्चे टैली करने लग जाते हैं ये सही है वो गलत है
who looks like they're one minor
Fuck you.
inconvenience away from a total meltdown before the papers even hit the desks. They're hunched over with wide eyes, scanning a sheet of notes crammed with handwriting so tiny it looks like a different language. They don't just have a pencil, they have 3 backups and a bottle of water with the label ripped off to avoid any accidental cheating accusations. You can practically feel the stress coming off them as their legs shake at 100 miles an hour, refusing to look at anyone so that they don't lose their focus. The moment they're allowed to start, they attack the page, underlining every word they think is important with these aggressive lines to avoid any traps. The only sound coming from their desk is the dry, rapid-fire friction of lead-on paper, and every page they finish is whipped over with a sharp crack that cuts through the silence like a gunshot. When they're done, they don't even bother with a final check. They just set the pencil down, gather their things in one fluid motion, and walk out the door, leaving a heavy pressure behind for everyone else who's still staring at the clock. Then there's the person who treats the exam like a mild inconvenience rather than a challenge.
This is me bro this is me who doesn't give a fuck about एग्जाम क्या ही कर लेंगे कुछ झाट नहीं मार लेंगे तुम भी वही क्लास में बैठे हो मैं भी उस क्लास में बैठा हूँ The first thing you know
They
is
sit slumped in their chair, lazily moving a pencil across a page.
और कई बंदे तो भाई लिटरली ब्रो ऐसे ही बैठे रहते हैं जो पूछते भी नहीं है ब्रो चीटिंग भी नहीं करते माजुदा है पेपर ब्रो ऐसे पेपर लेके बैठे हुए और लिटरली भाई वो कुछ लिख नहीं रहे और कल की बात बता रहा हूँ ब्रो मैं बोर्ड एग्जाम की बात बता रहा हूँ लिटरली बोर्ड का जो एक्सटर्नल होता है वो लिटरली बता रहा है भाई एक बच्चे को जवाब की ब्रो ये इसका ये है इसका वो है Type it.
While skipping over entire sections with a shrug. While the rest of the room is tense, they seem half asleep, occasionally pausing to yawn or stare blankly out the window. They finish in a fraction of the time, not because they're brilliant, but because they've decided that whatever they don't know isn't worth the effort of figuring out. While others are in deep concentration, this person leans so far back in their chair that it creaks, staring at the ceiling doing completely nothing. until the time runs out. When the last bubble is filled, they just slide the paper to the corner of the desk and sit there picking their nose. Alright, next up we got the person who asks questions every 10 seconds. They treat the silent exam room like a press conference.
बहुत सारे ये सारे बंदे करते हैं, मेरे को बाहर नहीं होता होगा लेकिन इंडिया में तो वही सभी करते हैं लिटरली। मैंने टॉपर बच्चों को देखा, जो बच्चा उनसे अच्छा है उनसे पूछते हुए ब्रो कि इसका ये क्या है ये क्या है। और कई चूते बच्चे तो ऐसे होते हैं भाई लिटरली क्वेश्चन आंसर पूछने लग जाएंगे भाई। मैं एक बंदे को भाई मैं तुम्हें एक बात बताता हूँ 11th क्लास की। मेरा एक एग्ज़ाम था भाई, एग्ज़ाम चल रहा था, मेरे को शायद हाफ ईयरली था, हाफ ईयरली एग्ज़ाम हो रहा था। मैंने एक बंदे को आंसर बताया, उस चूते की हरकत सुनो, वो कह रहा है ब्रो इसकी स्पेलिंग क्या होगी भाई बताइयो। मैंने कहा भाई गार्ड मरा भाई, मैं नहीं बता रहा तुझे।
Like every 10 seconds their hand shoots up to ask a question that they definitely could have answered by just reading the instructions on the first page. They don't just whisper to the proctor, they talk at a volume that forces everyone in the back of the room to stop mid-sentence and listen to their nonsense. They get stuck on the smallest details, constantly needing clarification on things that don't
Exactly. भाई एमसीक्यूज में तो मेरे को भी काफी ज्यादा डाउट होते हैं, इसलिए मैं खुद नहीं करता भाई, मैं पूछता हूँ टाइप चेक।
change the answer. While everyone else
I should be honest with you.
trying to focus, this person is busy debating the wording of a question or asking if a specific pen color is allowed. Their constant interruptions create this awkward rhythm where the entire room has to pause and wait for the proctor to finish explaining something for the third time. Even when they finally get their answer, they usually sit there looking unsatisfied, sighing heavily while they wait for the next minor thing to get frustrated about. Alright, next up we have the I'm not taking this test guy. There's
मतलब I don't
always
get it.
one person who just straight up decides they're not taking the exam. And it's not because they're sick or because they've had an emergency. It's because
हाँ आधे ज़्यादा बंदे चुतिया पे कर देते हैं, मैं बाहर जा रहा हूँ, मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, बाद में एग्जाम तो होगा ही ना भाई, बाद में तो होना ही है एग्जाम,
in their
ये
head
थोड़ी ना एग्जाम होगा ही नहीं।
that they've already
और बाकी तुम अकेले दोगे तब एग्जाम, तुम चीटिंग भी नहीं कर सकते, कोई स्कोप ही नहीं होगा भाई। जो बंदे ये चुतियापा लगाते हैं बाद में तुम्हें अकेले देना पड़ेगा पेपर, लाइब्रेरी में कहीं पे भी तुम्हारे आगे 3-4 टीचर और बिठा देंगे, और उस वक्त तुम्हें काफ़ी ज़्यादा बच्चे होंगे, तुम्हारी चीटिंग करने का ज़्यादा स्कोप बढ़ सकता है। टिप्स लो गाइस, टिप्स लो भाई।
worked out some alternate reality where this doesn't apply to them. They're like, yeah, I'm probably just going to take it online, or I emailed the professor and asked if my midterm grade can count as my final. And they say it with this insane level
What?
of confidence. Like, this is a totally normal thing that definitely works. Like, they're always banking on some loophole too, like extra credit from week 3 or attendance points or a discussion post they forgot they did, and they'll say, worst case scenario is I just need a 40 to pass. Even though the worst case has never once gone in their favor. When it's the actual day of the exam, they're nowhere to be found, and for like 3 days straight, they're completely calm, posting on their story, acting like everything's fine, until the grades drop, and suddenly they're in full crisis mode, emailing the professor like, hey, just wanted to follow up on my previous message, as if that wasn't sent 2 hours after the deadline. And the funniest part is, like, every semester, they swear it worked last time, but no one has ever seen it work. It's just this ongoing myth they keep alive so they don't